Hello and welcome to another episode of Statford Bridge, Chelsea by the numbers. And today's number is not three, though it is three. It's two. Two for two consecutive finals won for Chelsea in the year 2025. Chelsea beat Paris Saint-Germain 3-0 in the Club World Cup final. Not even the most delusional of Chelsea, Clear Lake, Maresca, Palmer fans would have called this game a 3-0 game beforehand. And yet, Chelsea were pretty good value for it. Now, is there a certain amount of ball go in versus ball not go in? For sure. And we'll get to that. But Chelsea were really, really, really damn good against a really, really good team. And you did not have the same hint of on the beachness that Liverpool had at Stamford Bridge. And it's a final. And everybody cared. And everybody was there to work. And perhaps most interestingly is the way they did it. Stats-wise, game looks good. 10 shots to 8, 2.1 XG to 0.5 XG. I say there's like a little bit of ball go in versus not go in. Like 15 minutes into the game, Desiree Doué gets a cutback at the back post that he tries to square instead of shoot. If he shoots, it's a very high quality chance he might score. The game feels very different. Instead, Chelsea go down the other end, score like two carbon copy goals for Cole Palmer, where he gets like basically unopposed shots from 15 to 18 yards out dead center of the box, and just berries. And I think the XG models have like opt to have it at 0.09 for the first one and 0.3 for the second one, which I think is very accurate. One of the fun things you see here is that the second goal in particular, Palmer does a fake shot that shreds Hakimi, and I bet you in the Opta data that is coded as a successful dribble in the box and is juicing the XG big time. Regardless, it was a very big chance. I think the other one is probably a better chance than the 0.09. And then there's a lovely slip for João Pedro who dinks the keeper on a 1v1. Liam Delap misses one really big chance in the second half. Robert Sanchez makes a very good save from Dembele off of a deflected cross. And other than that, PSG don't really get a whole lot great, and not even a whole lot good. Like, other than that Dembele chance and the Doué chance in the first half, like, it's really a whole lot of nothing. And there's some, like, there was a cross to the back post that hits Doué, and he isn't able to turn it into a shot. So, like, there's some stuff there. But man, it was a really, really, really solid Chelsea performance against a really, really good team. So if you look at the lineup, Chelsea went for three players in midfield, which is one of the things we talked about beforehand and on the streams, that like this is a thing Maresca is clearly going to do in big games. And there was a lot of consternation, including from myself, about starting Reece James in midfield. He has not looked good there in his performances there so far, particularly when Chelsea have a lot of possession. He has struggled at doing the back to play things where he is the player who is facing play, if you watch his little figurine rotate around, where he is facing the ball but his back is to play, and he is asked to do midfielder things. That has not been a strength for him. However, in this game, that was not really how Chelsea played, either in possession or defensively, and he also was not asked to like jump all the way to center backs particularly frequently, which is another thing he has struggled with. He was much more covering into channels, covering runners from midfield, taking the pass off from Chalobah or whatever it was. And I thought he looked really, really, really good. He goes off in the 77th minute. It's kind of unclear if it was injury or like, I'm dead. Because him and Enzo Fernandez, who went off in the 61st minute, were toast physically. Just tank empty. They got through so many yards. It was crazy. And Enzo Fernandez was nominally the 10. Again, another player you want to talk about, like, the things that Enzo Fernandez does. Like, I think the image that people want for Enzo Fernandez is Toni Kroos, like metronomic midfielder, lots of touches, lots of passes, sets the tempo, blah 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 blah. And what today's performance was like Oscar under Mourinho. Like, I am going to run and chase and press and harry and force you to play back and pick up loose balls and start transitions and run transitions. And he just ran and ran and ran and ran and ran. And I would love to see the distance covered stats, because I bet you the amount of ground he covered was disgusting in this game. And he just got through yards. That means Chelsea playing through midfield, with one of them being James, is you get Malo Gusto at right back, you get Cole Palmer as the right winger, Neto as the left winger, João Pedro as the 9. What we saw was like two attached things. One, PSG are very deliberate with their rotations to push Nuno Mendes and Achraf Hakimi into very dangerous positions, whether inverted or wide and high, and using their physical talents to be very dangerous, even though neither of them are that good on the ball. Like, Hakimi is very, very fast and a very good runner, but he's not a very good passer. He can cross in the final third, but he's not a good passer. Nuno Mendes is like a better possession passer than Hakimi is, but is still more dangerous, like, off the ball. And the way Chelsea managed that was by playing Pedro Neto as a left winger and saying, you are basically going to play second left back defensively. You're not going to get the jump and press. You are going to drop and deal with Hakimi, and there's going to be no handing off between you and Cucurella. And Cucurella just absolutely hammered Doué every single time he touched the ball. Kicked him, fouled him, pushed him, knocked him over, pushed him out of bounds, shoved him, kicked his ankle. Everything just like... Doué got nothing going the whole game, because every time he touched it, it was foul, kick, out of bounds, foul, kick, push. And it worked. And all Neto had to do was like, Hakimi's just going to run in depth. You just have to track him and delay and wait for help. And I thought he did a really, really good job of it. I think it's simplistic, right? I don't love being so man-to-man oriented. I think it's easier for players physically to do the handoff. And you look like Neto is a player who goes off 77 minutes and he's cooked. Like, he probably could have gone off 10 minutes earlier. But he did a really good job of managing it. Like, Hakimi got one dangerous final third entry maybe the whole game. And, like, you'll live with that. And on the flip side, with Neto being so deep, is part of that is you get Enzo Fernandez stepping out to defend a lot and doing a lot of running. And João Pedro doing a lot of running. But it also means you can get really asymmetric and have Palmer be like the free-floating wide forward right winger, which was the role he was predominantly tasked with last year. And boy, did he cook. He was so good in transition. He was so good running in depth. He was so good on the ball. Both goals are delightful finishes. Before that, there's a great little bit of possession play that results in a layoff for him on the edge of the box that goes inches wide. And he was dynamite. He was absolutely dynamite there. The thing that will go under the radar for him is that he got through yards defensively. When the last set of subs came, he went to the 10 and then just like worked his bag off in midfield. But he got through yards defensively and yards in transition to get Chelsea up the pitch and keep the ball in the final third. And you look at it and it's like, man, I can't believe that I thought that like he was going to be so bad defensively you'd have to game plan around it, because oh my god, did that guy work. And I know it's a final, but like he's a gamer. Like he was absolutely up for it and he was really, really good. The flip side of that is that, again, Neto being so low, is you get a lot of opportunities for Gusto to be high and wide, not high and narrow, not inverted. He got to do the overlap thing. And you saw a lot of moments with Chelsea in possession where Chelsea would set up in the build effectively with Gusto and Neto really high, really wide. You would have Palmer and Enzo Fernandez underneath João Pedro, and you would have Chelsea building in nominally what would start as like a 4-2 or a 4 kind of... Sometimes 4-2 with Gusto there, sometimes 4-2 with James there. but you would start with it really, really stretched out. And as you would draw pressure and draw pressure, and it would get very, very man to man from PSG, which was surprising to me that they were so willing to go man to man, is you ended up with these situations where Sanchez was able to play long diagonals to a very isolated Gusto or Palmer 1v1/2v1 against Nuno Mendes, and they ragdolled him. Gusto just did not let him breathe. He ran on every loose ball. Sanchez's distribution was scandalous. It to me, that was by far Sanchez's best. Like Bournemouth, Sanchez by like post shot expected goals was probably better for Bournemouth, where Chelsea win 1-0, he saves a penalty, but he gives the penalty away. And like the distribution wasn't good. Like part of why Chelsea had trouble playing through Bournemouth is he just kicked the ball out of bounds all the time. But Sanchez in this game, like, if you look at his pass map from this game, it's just going to be completed diagonals to everybody. You look 9 of 26 and you're like, that's not that many. Except those 9 are like breakaway for Gusto, breakaway for Delap, long ball to Neto, long ball to Gusto, that are just like danger, danger, danger every single time. And even the ones that aren't completed are not out of play or they're not intercepted in midfield. It's like pressable moments. I thought Sanchez was exceptional. I thought Gusto had one of his best ever games for Chelsea. I thought it was a really clever way to set up. And, you know, Cole Palmer said something about after the game about like Maresca's building something special. There was a lot of people talking shit this year. Like, I don't know if I would go that far. Like, I don't think this was a masterclass. Like, the result is amazing. Chelsea were great. They didn't do anything new. Like, it was press in moments, but mostly defend deep, and then like asymmetric transitions through Palmer, and then use Gusto as like an outlet runner. And it worked really well. And João Pedro had an excellent game, but it wasn't anything crazy. And it's also a very unique thing. Like, you cannot go play this way against the middle of the Premier League, for example. But it was a really, really, really promising performance, and an awesome way to win. And putting aside the financial benefits of like Chelsea got themselves an extra $30 million for this win, I think the things that were nice for me are twofold. I think one, it was nice to see them do something different, like actively be flexible in a way that I think suited the opponent you were playing and made sense with what you wanted to do and made sense with the personnel you had, with the exception of James in midfield. But like clearly with what they want to do with their right back, actually James in midfield made a bunch of sense, and like you're not going to not play him. I thought the subs were like pretty well timed, maybe a little bit late, but not bad. I probably would have gone Jackson over Delap, but I thought Delap was pretty good when he came on, so it's hard to be too mad about that. I think the thing for me is like Chelsea came out the game very hot, started really, really well, didn't get the goal, and then took PSG's punches and rode with it, and then counter goal, counter goal, counter goal. Second half comes, take the punches, and then transitions. You look at the like momentum map, like there's a very clear narrative to the game. And it's a good tool to have in the tool bag to be able to play like this. Like, you can imagine comparatively, imagine Chelsea chose to play City like this last year. Like, whew, you go up 1-0, that City away game, and you play like this, you're smashing them in transition off the back of that. So I think that's really interesting. And, you know, one of the things that we've said on this podcast and on streams and whatever is like, Chelsea didn't have a signature win. And this is like a real thing. And look, I'm like a very analytical guy. I'm very like numbers and like confidence isn't real and blah, 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 blah. But I do think culture is real. And I do think like winning is a habit. Like, you don't just become a winner. Like, you have to win things, and then that forges you into being a winner. You aren't just like, I'm a winner now. It's like habits and behaviors. And you look at this game where like not only did Chelsea start super hot in a final against a big real team, they also like didn't let off. Like at 3-0, it would have been very easy for the second half to be crap and you lose and you win 3-2. And it's like, whatever. No, like they still defended. They still did not give PSG really anything. The subs who came on, like Andre Santos comes on 61 and runs and works. Like, I don't think he was phenomenal. Not a ton of touches. Didn't really win the ball back that much. Didn't really get forward. But just, like, works. Delap comes on for João Pedro, who was exceptional. Works. Dewsbury Hall and Nkunku, two guys who are, like, ostensibly cast-offs who aren't going to be here. Come on. Dewsbury Hall came on for Neto to do the defensive job, taking Hakimi. Works. You look at, or not Hakimi, it was like they were playing a midfielder or a winger there at that point. And then Nkunku, who comes on, who, like, it's been a problem, works. And those are things that, like, that translates. Because you look at the, like, the good Liverpool teams and the good City teams, like, the standard did not drop when the best guys aren't playing. And that, I think, is going to be really, really critical this year. We're like, the best guys are not going to be able to play all the time. So, very, very fun. What does it mean? It's a good question. So, if you look at, like, the Opta Power rankings, right? I think Chelsea were, like, 12th or something at the beginning of the tournament. They win today, and they go up to 8th. Okay, I think they were 12th at the beginning of the tournament, or maybe 9th at the beginning of the tournament, and now they're up to 8th. They're on a very similar but somewhat less level to Liverpool, Arsenal, Man City. Like, there's a gap. And they're considerably above Villa, who I think are significantly overrated in the way this model is made, but that's neither here nor there. I also think Palace are very overrated in this model, so are Newcastle, but that's, like, I think those teams are considerably worse than Chelsea, but that's a separate issue. And so I look at that and I'm like, gap's not that big. And so I've been working on, like, the points projection model and thinking about methodology changes and how I want to approach it and what all this means. And I don't know. Like, the place I get to is that I think the team is better than I think it is. Because I would have, like, so if you look at the bookie models for this game, it was like a 2/3, 1/3, which is something like about a goal difference in projected team strength. I probably would have had the line similarly, and this game did not play like that. Even though, like, yes, Chelsea got to do the things they wanted to do, in even game state until they scored, this game did not feel like that. It felt even. Like, Chelsea did play through. It turned very, like, bunker transitional once they score, but the first 30 minutes are not Chelsea defending super deep. Like, it's pressing and winning high and going and, like, playing through PSG's press significantly more frequently than I thought they would. And that, to me, was a bit of a surprise. And so I look at the team for next season, and you look at someone like João Pedro, who now in, like, 3 60-minute cameos for Chelsea, or I guess 2 60-minute cameos and 1 45-minute cameo or 30-minute cameo, has put up significantly more XG than he did at Brighton. Significantly more shots than he did at Brighton. He only takes 1 shot in this game, but still significantly more in total. And all of a sudden you're like, well, that's going to change a lot if he's legit. Delap putting up significantly more XG, that was a kind of predictable translation, but again, it's more than you would have thought. You look at Neto, who, like, Neto was basically a 0 in attack all season, has a very productive tournament against teams who are, like, Fluminense would be pretty comparable to, like, a very low-end Premier League team, like a promoted team. But still, those were not teams he was scoring against last year. And you look at all of these, and then there's Gittins, and then whatever else business you know they're going to end up doing. And then Nkunku looks significantly more interested, and Estevao is going to be there, who had a great tournament. And it's just like the error bars are just getting very, very big. And so, like last season, it was like Chelsea were 69 points, I think 68 points plus or minus 10, right? Like that was like the 595 confidence interval. So they would be like as low as 58, as high as 78, and that was like pretty ridiculous. And I look at this season and like my model has them at 70 right now. It likes that they added depth and like the non Jackson no striker minutes will never happen. It doesn't like that Madueke is gone from a team strength perspective. Doesn't love Gittins. Doesn't love João Pedro, but it likes their like existence as better than Tyreek George and better than no striker minutes. And it likes Andre, doesn't like Asugo, but it likes that there's like more players available. You know what I mean? And I look at it at 70. I'm like, I think this team is better than 70, even with the Champions League. And so if I was to like manually adjust it, I'd put them something like 75. But it would be like 75 plus minus 15. Because now I look at this game and I look at these players and I look at Levi Colwill, who was like good last season. I look at Sanchez, who had a good shot stopping season. But Sanchez had a good shot stopping season and good claiming season while being a disaster in other phases of the game, but also being very up and down. And you see Sanchez totally locked in until 90 plus 6 when he's like the game is done and he tries to dribble someone and gets stripped. But you look at him locked in and you're like, man, if you do that for the whole season, you will legitimately be one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. Like if you get the Sanchez you got for 90 plus 5 minutes before the 6 minute of added time, and you got him for 35 Premier League games, he is lights out. He was so good on crosses. The distribution was nuts. Like that's a huge asset to you as a team. And you look at Colwill and you look at Chalobah, who like I thought Chalobah was great. You look at Cucurella, I thought Cucurella was great. You look at the guys off the bench. Like it's a 95th percentile outcome, but like sure 90's on the table. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think you need a lot of things to go your way, a lot of penalties, a lot of hot finishing, some unlucky finishing or lucky finishing against. But like, sure. So I don't really know how to evaluate this team. But I'm having fun. And I said last summer that I wasn't having fun. And that was true. I didn't like the players that were going out. Or I liked the players that were going out. I didn't love the players that were coming in. And I don't love this summer. I don't love the business. I don't love the Madueke sale. I didn't love João Pedro. I liked João Pedro. Didn't love Gittins. I was okay with Gittins. We'll see what other business gets done. See what other outgoings get done. But I'm definitely having fun. This team is good. And there is something there to root for. And maybe most importantly, they really give a shit. They celebrated at full time like it really, really meant. And I know there's a big bonus, and I know all of those things, but like you watch Enzo Maresca on the bench tapping his heels together like a child waiting for the full-time whistle, and like that's good. Like having that culture that actually this matters is good. So that's all from me. Probably take a few weeks off the pod, unless like some specific business happens. We've been doing a lot of episodes with the tournament, but I'm having fun. We've been doing streams every week with transfer stuff. We'll see what happens, but it's July 13th. These players got to take 21 days off. They're back August 2nd. Premier League season starts August 16th. I think the beginning of the season might be a little bit awkward. Let's see what happens, but I'm excited. I'm not dreading it. I'm excited. So let's see what happens. But if you like the show, if you like the YouTube stuff, like give it a like, a share, a subscribe, a comment, like all those things drive it up. I think I'm like 20 subscribers away from 2,000 on YouTube, which is pretty cool. I think over the course of the season, we're at close to like 100,000 listens on all podcast platforms. So it's like, it's pretty dope. So thank you for all of that. And let's see how next season goes. Anyways, that's all from me. As always, and now the 2024-2025 season is coming to a close. enjoy the soccer.